Imagine an organization so incredibly powerful it could overthrow governments, recruit spies all over the globe, and secretly shape the course of history, all without most of us ever knowing a thing. For decades, the CIA has operated deep in the shadows. Now, some people call it America's ultimate defense, while others argue it's been quietly pulling the strings on global politics and conflicts. Well, in this explainer, we're going to dive right into all of that. Which brings us to a massive underlying question. How much has the CIA really changed the world? Today, we're stripping away the myths. We're going to explore the agency's biggest operations, its greatest successes, its most controversial failures, and basically figure out the lasting impact it's had on global history. Let's get into it.
Section 1. The Birth of Intelligence. To understand the agency, we really have to jump back to 1941. The surprise attack on Pearl Harbor was a devastatingly painful lesson for the U.S. The core takeaway? Intelligence failures can have catastrophic, world-altering consequences. So, by the end of World War II in 1945, it was undeniably clear that America needed a centralized intelligence hub. This led directly to 1947 when Congress passed the National Security Act. This essentially birthed the CIA with one main goal: to make sure another disaster like that never hits American shores unseen again. Now, at its core, the agency's original mission was built on a surprisingly simple foundation. Just 4 pillars: collect intelligence, analyze foreign threats, advise the president, and protect national security. I mean, it sounds incredibly straightforward, right? But as global tensions started heating up, those seemingly simple responsibilities expanded dramatically.
Section 2. The Cold War Shadow Game.
As the dust finally settled from World War II, 2 massive superpowers emerged, the United States and the Soviet Union. This plunged the world into the largest intelligence competition in modern history. And because absolutely neither side wanted a direct, world-ending nuclear war, they had to fight a secret battle. The CIA essentially transformed into America's invisible weapon. We're talking agents operating under false identities, doing whatever it took to gain an upper hand without firing a single conventional shot. This invisible warfare, it relied on an entirely new playbook. We're talking global espionage, funding propaganda, and engaging in proxy wars. Think about operations where millions of dollars were secretly funneled to sway foreign elections, or specialized aircraft flying miles above the Earth just to snap photos of secret installations. Literally every single intercepted communication or newly recruited informant had the very real potential to shift global strategy and tip the balance of power.
Section 3. Covert Operations and Controversies.
So this shadow war led to the CIA's most famous and definitely most heavily debated actions. During the Cold War, the agency supported anti-communist movements and tried to influence political outcomes abroad. Now, we have to look at this neutrally. Supporters are quick to credit these covert operations with successfully containing Soviet expansion, providing absolutely crucial intelligence during some incredibly tense times. But on the flip side, critics argue that these actions directly interfered with the national sovereignty of other countries, causing long-term instability and lasting geopolitical consequences that, honestly, we're still feeling today.
Section 4. The Evolution of Spy Technology.
Okay, what's really fascinating here is looking at the actual tools of the trade. We all know the Hollywood myth, right? Spies running around with exploding pens and invisible cars. But the reality is actually far more sophisticated. The CIA invested heavily in real-world technological innovations that fundamentally changed how intelligence is gathered. It's way less about dramatic action scenes and far more about highly advanced engineering.
These tools evolved right alongside the threats they were tracking. In the early days, they relied heavily on miniature cameras, hidden recording devices, and bugs cleverly planted inside foreign embassies. But soon, espionage took to the skies. They brought in advanced aerial reconnaissance like the U-2 spy plane and early satellite imagery that could literally read a license plate from space. Eventually, all of this laid the crucial groundwork for the modern digital era and the cyber capabilities we see today.
Section 5. The Post-9/11 Paradigm.
The tech landscape was always shifting, but the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001 pivoted America's intelligence priorities virtually overnight. Counterterrorism suddenly became the absolute primary focus. The agency vastly expanded its cooperation with global allies, pouring massive energy and resources into surveilling terrorist networks. The singular goal? Preventing future attacks, at all costs.
But this massive operational shift sparked some really intense ongoing debates.
On one hand, you have the absolute imperative of national security and the immediate need to dismantle terrorist cells. But on the other hand, this friction opened up fierce public debates about civil liberties, the vast reach of domestic and international privacy surveillance, and some deeply controversial detention policies. Finding that balance between protecting the public and preserving civil liberties, that became a defining challenge of 21st century intelligence.
Section 6. The Modern Digital Agency.
Today, the modern intelligence officer monitors a wildly fragmented and dynamic landscape. It's no longer just a binary Cold War dynamic between the US and the Soviets. Today's focus is split across a massive spectrum. They're tracking rapidly emerging cyber threats, the explosive development of AI, ongoing international terrorism, foreign influence campaigns explicitly designed to manipulate public perception, and of course, broad strategic rivalry between global powers. It's a deeply interconnected web of highly complex modern challenges.
And navigating that web means using an entirely new set of tools. Modern intelligence relies way less on traditional espionage and far more on massive data analysis, parsing through terabytes of information in literally seconds. It requires advanced satellite systems, robust cybersecurity frameworks, and constant international cooperation. Today, an intelligence officer is just as likely to be sitting behind a keyboard analyzing massive digital datasets as they are to be walking the streets running a traditional covert source.
Now, despite everything we've looked at today, we have to acknowledge one fundamental reality here. Much of the CIA's work remains highly classified. While declassified documents let us study their history and trace their legacy, the agency is still deeply influential today, and many of its current operations are going to stay completely hidden in the shadows. Some secrets simply may never be revealed.
Which leaves us with a really fascinating lingering thought. The CIA has undoubtedly shaped international affairs and global history for decades. But as technology rapidly rewires the world of espionage, the question is no longer whether intelligence agencies shape history, but rather, how will they shape the future? Thanks for joining me for this explainer today. If you want to keep mastering complex topics, definitely stay tuned for our next deep dive. Keep learning, and I'll see you next time.